Hi everyone, welcome to my review of Men in Black 2, directed by Barry Sonnenfeld from 2002. So yes, we are back once again, ready to discuss on the channel. This time around, we are going for the second film in the Men in Black franchise. It's been a few months since I discussed Men in Black on the channel, and yeah, resuming this, I watched it again the other day, rewatched this film, Men in Black 2, and I wanted to share my thoughts today on the channel. First of all, there will be a spoiler warning for this discussion. If you haven't seen this film, I simply recommend seeing it first, and then come back to this video, and we can go from there. We can talk about it from the comments, and yeah, celebrate cinema. So yes, with all that said, let's discuss my thoughts on this film, and yeah, this is a one that, I'd seen quite a few times as a kid, just like the first film, although not as much, and yeah, this is the last time I actually saw this film was around 7-8 years ago actually, so long ago. And yeah, I'd seen the first one obviously back in December. I talked about that of course on the channel, and I just absolutely love that film of course, and it's one of my favourite kind of among my favourite sci-fi kind of comedy films, and it's just such a great film for me. And this film is a one that is a bit divisive, and I think it's a sequel that for me is much more small scale, and it's not got the magic of the first, and it's not got that kind of the charm and the sense of wonder as well. As I say, the kind of that whole magic, that awe and mystery to the first film, the way the universe is set up. But for me, it is actually a pretty solid sequel, and actually a pretty worthy kind of successor to the first film. But yeah, once again, Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones return to this film, and we have obviously Agent J, Will Smith, kind of at the beginning, kind of going about, in the subway. That was a really good sequence, with a massive worm, of course. That was really cool, and yeah, I think it's a nice way the film opens up, and we obviously Agent J being the main one, the film protagonist here, and because Agent K obviously previously, as we know, had his kind of memory wiped, at the end of the first film, and he went to live back with his wife, and we'll get to that in a moment. But we have obviously Agent J eventually having to bring in Agent K again, and for this whole kind of massive alien plot to kind of get the light of Zarfa, and obviously we have Agent K. We learn that he's he probably knows where this is. He kind of kept this hidden on Earth, and obviously his memory is wiped. So Agent J is attempting to obviously in the first act really go back to Agent K, Tommy Lee Jones, and to bring him back into the MIB, and obviously it's quite hard at first because as we know, his memory has been wiped, and it's really funny sequences at first. The interactions, and as a kid, I think the whole kind of plot to get Agent K back into the MIB, to kind of make him remember, of course, what happened in the first film was a bit frustrating to me as a kid. It's just a bit annoying for me. But I think I've seen it again over the years. It's something that I'm not as bothered by, and it's quite funny, I guess, and it leads to a lot of wacky moments, of course, with Tommy Lee Jones, in that post office, the kind of mailroom there, and all the different aliens that are in disguise there, and all the kind of the quirky characters there, and I think when Agent J, Will Smith, is kind of communicating with them, you've got the beatboxing and all this, and different languages that he's using. That was really funny, and I think just a kind of the strange visual moments there as well with all those characters, really funny designs there, and yeah, definitely I think the first act of the film consistently is the funniest, and probably the most engaging to me. Obviously we have one of the stars of the show being Frank the Pug, and obviously Frank the Pug was in the first film, but it was more of just a one scene really, more of a cameo, but highly memorable, and in this film, in the first act really, and the rest of the film, is definitely a pivotal point, in this. But the first act, he's with Agent J, and they call him Agent F in a sense, and he's got kind of a suit and all this at one point. Just so cute in this, and Frank the Pug, just everything he does in this, it's just both really cute and charming, and just hilarious as well. I love the moments when he's singing, and obviously just him singing "I Will Survive" at one point, and also when Who Let the Dogs Out, that's playing, of course. Frank kind of barks in time with it, and that was just so funny, and so cute, and it's definitely one of my favourite moments of this film. And I think just seeing Agent J and Frank the Pug kind of going about, at first, that was definitely for me some of the best parts of the film. And in that sense, this film overall is really fun. It's got some really good action. The film, as I've said, opens up as well. Quite a fun sequence there, and we've got some hilarious moments, really charming moments, and I think world building as well. In a sense at times in this one where the MIB, kind of itself is kind of built upon a little bit, and we have a bit more kind of the way other side characters are in the first film, and the worms as well. The kind of walking worms, they're really funny in this as well, and seeing them again, and Frank the Pug obviously more of a role, and quite a few different characters in this that kind of back again, and they're really enjoyable. And in that sense, it's really fun. And you've got some really it's just hilarious moments of comedy and charming moments in this. But I think where it loses me a little bit, it's just how the plot progresses. And I think the whole kind of villain plot in this. Well, first of all, I'm not really a fan of any of the villains in this film too much. There's some moments that are quite funny and quite cool, but an epic moments towards the end of the film. But I think just Sir Lena, the villain here, is not big on this. I think it was a cool way she was introduced, but I just don't really like the way this villain was handled throughout the film. And obviously Scrad and Charlie, played by Johnny Knoxville in this film, which is obviously great to see. Massive Jackass fan, and to see Johnny Knoxville in this film, that is really cool. Just something about this, the kind of tone of this, and I think the way it's done throughout the film, it's just it's not the funniest, and it becomes a little bit actually irritating, and the whole kind of way in which it's meant to be. This kind of quirky, side character along with the villain, teaming up in that sense. I think it could have been, done a lot better for me, and it just wasn't really as effective, as it could have been, and it's not really that funny to me throughout most of the film. Again, there's some some moments, a couple of parts here and there that are kind of funny and unique in that sense, but overall, just not really big on any of the villains in this, and it's just the way that kind of goes with the plot. The whole Light of Zarth kind of plot line wasn't really that interesting. It was a bit convoluted at times, but then again, it was kind of a bit basic as well. And it wasn't something I fully got wrapped up in, like I did in the first film, which is unbelievable kind of storytelling for me in that one. I was just so immersed, really from start to finish in that film with the plot as well as all the characters. And I think that's one of the worst things about this film. It's just that plot and how small scale it is. I think most of the characters, in MIB are kind of captured, or they take a back seat for most of the film, and even Frank the Pug at one point is kind of trapped really in MIB. The kind of some of the rooms there, the main rooms, and it's just kind of he's held kind of hostage in that sense. And I think it would have been nicer actually to see Frank the Pug with throughout the entire runtime. Agent J and K for me. It was at first, kind of teased, although it was a full, first act really. It was more of a tease, and then the rest of the film, doesn't really. He's not really interacting, in that sense for most of it with, Will Smith, Tommy Lee Jones. He does kind of show up here and there, but it's more just kind of cutting back to him, in that sense. And I think it would have been way more fun and way more enjoyable if, had Frank the Pug had been, back with Agent J and K throughout the rest of the film. And that's something that would have elevated this. Rosario Dawson in this film as well is really good in this as Laura, but once again, she's introduced quite heavily in the first act, and I really enjoyed seeing this character. The chemistry between her and Will Smith was really good here. And then once again she's kind of she takes a back seat until the final act, where she kind of just flies off. Of course, we learned that she was an alien as well, and she kind of just goes off to a planet, and that's something. The way that ends as well is a bit kind of basic for me, and I think it was. Just the outcome of that, it never really went anywhere, and that's a bit strange to me. And I thought it would have been again better if Frank the Pug and Laura had been basically throughout the rest of the film with Agent J and K teaming up. That would have been way better, and the four of them together, that would have been so much more enjoyable. But despite all that, that's just something that could have been better, and it's just a bit strange seeing again. I was reminded of how much it's just more J and K together, and none of the other characters that could have been with them, and just how small scale this one is as well. And that's something that I was reminded of, and I think it's just something that doesn't feel as it's kind of pivotal. The plot line and the whole kind of plans of the alien. It's just more of a very small scale kind of approach. But I do really enjoy once again seeing Agent J and K in this, and again, not that sense of wonder and that whole kind of bringing in Will Smith, his character Agent J, into the MIB and all this, the sense of world building and the sense of wonder and magic to it. It's not there, but it's a different type of film, and we have obviously the different the switching there, where Jay is more the lead at first, and Tommy Jones, how, as I say, he's brought back in to the MIB, and that was, I think, actually, really well done, in that first act. And, I think Tommy Lee Jones, once again, in this film is great. And, Will Smith as well, he is just so good in this film. Great stuff from both of them. The chemistry, once again, is there. And they're just legendary characters. Just the side characters in this film, really enjoyed. And, once again, we've got Rip Torn back in this film. And he was just so great here. And, just the kind of interactions, especially with, him and Jay, in the film at first. And, just David Cross in this film as Newton. He was so memorable in this film, and I really enjoyed his scenes, as well. And we have, Michael Jackson in this film. It's his kind of cameo sequences here, and that was just absolutely hilarious. Reminded once again of how funny, the part was when, Michael Jackson kind of says, I could be Agent M. That was just, classic stuff, and some really funny moments in that sense with different side characters, and just some really quirky moments in this film as well. I think the humour at times, there's not that kind of perfect balance, in the tone as well. The comedy at times, it's a bit, bit too fast, like maybe in places just a little bit, the comedy. But I think for the most part, it's really funny, as I say, and some hilarious parts, of this film. And Frank the Pug is, even better in this film, obviously, than he was in the first film. And I think even though I love that first film sequence where he's getting shaken about, that's so funny. But I just think Frank the Pug in this film, he's just stand out here, and he gets way more screen time, obviously, and it's just so cute once again in this film. And I think the effects in general are really, really good in this film. And I've said it's more small scale in this, but the effects, special effects to this are really, really impressive once again. And just in general, some really creative moments of action once again in this film, and it's just such a fun ride. This, it's over before you know it, and it's a really, really short film. This, and it's just a really fun, light-hearted film, and it's got some great moments in here as well. And I think in terms of just Agent J and K once again, teaming up in this film, that was so great. And I think there was a couple of points where I'm not really big on, how, though we have different characters like, K, what they're doing between the first film and this film here, with the plot there. Just the sense that Agent K, his wife kind of left him, that's something that, once again, seeing it, I was quite surprised by, that's kind of a reveal that, I'm not really big on at all, just because, the events of the first film, and, how, just that whole, how special it was that he got back with his wife, and they've been apart, for so many years, kind of thing, and it was this real, just such a great moment there, and it was a really magical part, of that film, and how his arc kind of, concluded really in that one, and I thought they could have brought him back again without kind of making the wife, leave him, in that sense. That was just, they could have done something else, just for me personally, and it was just a bit strange. Again, it doesn't, kind of, it's a separate film. Obviously, it's a sequel that, kind of, I guess in that sense, it's just doing some things to just try and bring, Agent K back, Tommy Lee Jones. So it's not something I really take seriously, but it's just something that, in that sense, when I think on that, it's not something I am big on that kind of the way in which that was revealed, and also Agent L, as well from the first film, just the fact that she kind of just randomly left MIB, and she's not in this film. Just the way that was done, though, the way it was revealed, it was just a bit kind of that was a bit frustrating. There could have been more, in the way of that, kind of a bit more a kind of explanation or this kind of thing, because the ending to the first film, it really gets you pumped, in a sense, for seeing Agent J and L together. But I guess it's just something that obviously didn't happen. But still, I'm not really big on that whole kind of way in which that was done. And aside from those moments, though, it's great to see these characters return. And I think Tommy Lee Jones, as I say, is great. Just the chemistry between the two of them. Once things really find their groove in that sense, and Tommy Lee Jones, his character of Agent K, remembers, and that is just so great. And I think it's just so many charming moments between the two of them, and just how one of my favourite parts as well, Agent J kind of going around this room and just kind of seeing all the different clues and looking at the pictures and how they're pointing to different parts, and then it leads him nowhere, and he's just confused, and then Agent K kind of just picks up the keys right next to him there, and it's the fact that Agent J was overthinking things, and it's just really going full on with trying to figure out what everything meant, and Agent K just kind of straight to it, picks up the keys there. That was so funny, and I think hilarious moments in this film, and it's a real kind of charming film, this real fun, light-hearted film as well. And obviously we've got some highlights in this as well, Frank the Pug being one particular highlight for me, and so in that sense, really enjoy this film overall, and it's a real solid film here, and it's definitely a worthy sequel to the first film in that sense. So as for my rating of the film, it's a 74%, so definitely a really solid score from me, and one that I think this is just consistently an enjoyable film. It's got some cool action in the film. It's quite adventurous at times, even though again it's more small scale and it's not got the kind of variety. It's a bit too much maybe at night time as well, this one, and the first film obviously had a lot more daytime sequences, and it's just more varied in the locations, I guess, just different parts of the film. But this one, yeah, it's definitely got its moments, adventurous kind of parts, and just the kind of nice little mission, kind of feel, that this one has. And even though, yeah, once again we've got this alien kind of trying to, or threaten the planet in that sense, and we've got this massive kind of thing going on. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like the first film in that sense, and that's okay at times. It doesn't hurt the film too much, but other times it's more of a it could have been more kind of investing in that sense, and more of a have more of an impact in places. In that sense, there's some things that could have been better, but definitely a solid film, and one that I really enjoy. It is really lovable in places, and it's just really nice, uplifting film, and really enjoyable in places. Some cool action, as I say. The effects are really impressive, and the soundtrack once again to this, it's great, and just certain moments in this film I do really love, and overall it's a really enjoyable, consistent, family fun, nice, light-hearted sci-fi film. So yeah, that's my thoughts. What do you think on this film? We're going to hear in the comments your thoughts on this, and your experience with this film, and how does it compare for you to the first film in the franchise? And yeah, that'd be great to discuss this down below. And next up will be Men in Black 3, and that'll be in the next few weeks. I talk about that, rewatch that, and again, that's been many years since I saw that one, and always had a really good time with that as well. And I look forward to sharing my thoughts eventually on that film. But for today, let's discuss this film in the comments, and celebrate cinema. So yes, as always, take care, and thanks for watching.